Words cannot express how great of a feeling it was walking into my office and not having to step over things or step onto things. It was such a peaceful environment coming in this morning, which made having to join an 8 a.m. Zoom call for work so much easier. So today already I have had a Zoom call about some in-service professional development that we're going to be doing on the 13th later this month. So that's our big in-service meetings that we do for all of the IU staff. And then I had my 9 o'clock call with my executive assistant, Sarah, where we were just talking about some of the things that she's working on and some of the items that we're going to be doing here for bridging literacy. Then I attempted to wake up. So for some reason, I've been sleeping really, really hard, and I just was struggling to wake up this morning, but I am feeling much better. It is the afternoon, and we're gonna talk all about the first couple of days of school because I have a lot to say about that. So let's go and talk about it. I am refusing to open up that window that's over here on this side because yesterday it was unbelievably hot and I do not want to feel that way. I did open this window up on the side. There was a lot of light coming in and I'm just gonna cross my fingers that it does not get excruciating hot, but I'm not moving around as much today. Okay, so let's talk about the first couple of days of school. And what I mean by the first couple of days, I mean you're out of your routine. You're not necessarily following your normal prescribed schedule of this is your math time, this is your science time, this is your ELA time. Typically for me, we would start on like a Wednesday. And because we would start on a Wednesday, normally Wednesday, Thursday, Friday were like my off days. Those were the days that my schedule was very, very different than my typical schedule that I was going to follow all year long. Now, the first full week of school that I had, I would start getting into that motion of, all right, I'm going to have like science lessons and social study lessons or ELA lessons and math lessons. But what we're talking about are just going to be those oddball days of how do you get these kids to actually learn the routines? How do you build some get to know you? How do you build community with them? And so I always went around the ideas of breaking down my schedule by like 15 to 20-ish minute blocks. So I went through the day and I would put in my lunchtime, I would put in my specials time, any sort of recess in there, and I would just break it down 15 to 20 minutes. And then for every 15 or 20 minutes, I tried to have some form of an activity. Now I have 3 different activity types, just 3, which makes it really easy when you're planning. Now, this doesn't necessarily include practicing routines. So 3 different types of activities that I would sprinkle in, and then I would do some routines on top of that. Now, if you were part of the boot camp, the Facebook boot camp that I ran over the summer, then you have all of these resources, which is great. But for those of you who haven't joined, I want to share just a few of my favorites for each different type. So the first type of activity are just kind of those basic get to know you activities. These are going to be the things that we want kids to feel like they are sharing, they're contributing to the classroom, and they're learning about one another. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit of a stickler when it comes to things that kids make and that they spend time on. I don't want them to do something just for the sake of doing something so that I could give them like busy work. I am not a worksheet fan. I do not love them. They are like the thing that I loathe the most as an educator. Now, so I always ask myself for that purpose of like, why am I doing this? In this case, when I do any form of like get to know you stuff, typically the first one that I will do for the year is going to be a name tag. And so I would give my students a name tag like this. So you can see, literally made this in Google Slides. Pretty simple, very basic. So they would have this name tag. And the reason that I liked this one was because I liked the bubble letters that you could use. And this is also from Google Slides. And then I had 4 different blocks. each of those various different blocks or components stood for something very unique. So on top of that, they would receive this paper. So they would have a half sheet of this, and it's the name tag activity. And so in the upper right-hand corner, so upper left-hand corner, they're gonna use symbols, pictures, or words to represent either subjects and topics that matter the most to you. Now, when I did this activity, I walked them through it. So I modeled it with my own name, and I walked them through how to create this and some of the things that I was thinking of. I really want to caution you in just giving kids things that they have to read and figure out, because one, it's going to cause a lot of stress on kids, especially those who are struggling readers, those who really struggle to have idea generations. There's a lot of brain processes that are involved in these items. So I don't want to just give it to kids and be like, go work quietly, please. And that is not good instructional practices in supporting all of the students inside of your classroom, because you're going to have a range of learners, and that's really, really important. So I would walk them through this activity. I would read it out. I would have them all point to make sure we learned left and right, because you still got kids who don't know left and right. So we're going to figure out which one's left and right, upper and lower, and we're going to complete these name tags. And then I'm going to have them just pencil things in as I'm modeling it for them, and then I'm going to give them that quiet time to be able to use markers and crayons and any of the colors that they want to be able to use to add color to their name tags. Now, I am not also a teacher who likes to use name tags at desks. After the second day, kids know where their desks are. They actually know where each other's desks are better than I know where students' desks are. So I don't like having name tags at desks because they get dirty, the kids pick at it, they play with it. It is just too much of a mess. So I use the name tag for like the first day or 2 days. After that, the name tag goes away, and here's what I do with it. I laminate it, and then I will either post it out in the hallway, and I will have their names where I can place their work, or I will post it in the classroom and just kind of have it up at the very top, or kind of do like a fun wall art with their name tags. And it's just nice because it makes them feel like, oh, they're part of this classroom. So that is my personal preference. And if you want to use it as a name tag, absolutely use it as a name tag. I've done that too. During like COVID year, I had their names on it. That way, if somebody came in my room and I wasn't there, they were able to pick up where students sat. Other than that, I just used a seating chart on my clipboard, and that is what I usually gave subs as far as where kids sat. But very, very simple activity, and one that they always enjoyed, and I enjoyed repurposing it. So I would keep these up all year long in the classroom, and it was just a really nice way to kind of get to know them and some of their interests. So that's the first thing. The next one that I have is going to be my little hand. Now, you take a really long piece of construction paper and kids will trace each other's hands. So you partner them up, and bless, this is always so interesting watching them trace each other's hands, but they're gonna trace each other's hands, and then the students will end up cutting them out. Now, here's why I like this activity, because they will find 5 things that really represent, let me see here, represent themselves, or that are really important to them. And then they can add drawings, they can add more objects, and so it's something that just goes all along the end of it. I've done this in my classroom, and it's the same idea as the hand, where I will give kids time to finish it. I will tell you, it is a longer activity, so it takes a little bit of time for them to get done. They usually will sketch it out one day, they'll start to add color, and that typically takes like another day or 2 for students to be able to complete. But what I like about it is I, again, will get these laminated. I will then post these inside of my classroom. So I would have them just all along the edge of my room. And it was just another way of being able to see what were the things that interested us, that made us unique, that made us very special. And I liked that it was their hands. So fun, simple other activity. I've also done it to where it created almost like a sun. And I would have a huge cutout of just like an orange cutout. Maybe I'll have Blaney help me in just a little bit to like do some more hands, and then I can show you what that ends up looking like. So they would have like a big cutout. You can create a sun with it. And so it's like the sunshine of your classroom. But these are always fun, and it's a very simple thing that you can do. And it's meaningful because it's not something that is already pre-made that kids are just filling out, which is the thing that I don't typically enjoy as a teacher. If you do, that's you, like you do you. But it's just, this is more my style and just making it very unique, and just, I like seeing what the kids end up coming up with. Again, something that I teach, and I walk them through it. I model it for them so that they know what they're putting onto their hands. The other thing that I have is a little bit easier, and these are like, again, your get to know you things. I love surveys. I love getting to know students, and so I will often give them surveys. And I have surveys for different subject areas. I have like a learner survey that I will hand out to them. I also have a reader survey, so they have one, and then it also has a back. You can give this to them at the beginning of the year and then give it to them at the end of the year, and then they can compare and contrast it, which is always really fun. And then I do a writer survey as well. So they have the front, and then they have the back to go along with it. And then I have like one that's like an interest survey, a parent survey, and those are just really nice because I can sprinkle them throughout the next like 2 or 3 weeks, and then always keep them inside of their folders and revisit them to get a little bit more information about them. It takes me a little bit long to learn everything about everyone. So I like these activities. Again, I try to make them meaningful, purposeful, but also fun and creative and just really cute, because then this is how I decorate my classroom. So I do all the simple, easy stuff, and then they can contribute with the things that they create. I've also done, and I'm not like showing you a picture of, well, I'll show you a picture of these, but I would create really big people. And so the kids would do like watercolor on their shirts. Then they would bring in items, or I would create like a Google Slides where everybody would add pictures, and then I would just print them out if you have access to like print them out inside of your schools. It's something very, very simple that you can do. You would put their names on each of the slides. Then the kids would go through, find clip art, add those clip arts to their slide. You would print out their individual slides and allow them to cut it out. The reason for this is because then they use those images to put it onto the very large shirt. I feel like I just have to show you what this looks like so that you appreciate it more. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get Blaine, and we're gonna go to the store, and we're gonna make one of these, because this is probably my favorite thing to do. And normally I would end up doing this with like writing and getting to know them, because they would use those images and things that they really enjoy to help inspire them as writers. So that's how I've typically done it, but I feel like I just need to show this to you. Okay, so let's go. We're gonna go and gather all the things, and I'm gonna make him do it. Okay, here we go.
Ready? Okay,
so we came to Michael's to grab a few things.
Right?
Huh? What? So where can we find? Ooh, look. Here. Watercolors? You just want to do this one? Yeah? There you go. What are these? Are you sure that these are the ones you want to get?
Yeah, I'd rather know that.
Then you want these other than the other ones?
Wait, let me check.
What is that one?
Let's check one faster.
No? I think this one's good. I think that the crayons would be better, but there's also these as markers. You still like the the colored pencils? Okay, hold those. Yep, found it.
These are really thin.
So, wait, this one. Here, hold it. Thank you. Come on, buddy. It does look like it's gonna rain, doesn't it? Okay, so I cut out the shape of a t-shirt, nothing really fancy. I drew my t-shirt first, and then I put this onto poster board. I'm able to get out of one poster board, one set for each kid. So I can have 2 kids per poster board if that helps you with any sort of planning. So I sketched very quickly. Wasn't my best of my t-shirt, and then I also sketched out a head. If you are not comfortable sketching this out, I recommend going to your art teacher and then having them help to give you like a template sketch, and then that way you can just trace that over and over and then save it. I usually write template on mine, and then that way I know that I just need to store it for the next year. So here's what I'm gonna do. So typically how I've done this in the past is that these were multiple days. So one day would be the face, another day would be the shirt, and then the last day would be like putting all these things together. So what we ended up getting from Michael's is watercolor. I like watercolor. You definitely don't have to use watercolor. You could just have the kids color it. But we're gonna do some watercoloring, or at least Blaine is gonna watercolor because he's gonna be the one that puts all of this together. Okay, so you wanna go grab a plastic cup with water and bring it over here. So you are in charge, stay a seat. You are in charge of putting watercolor onto your t-shirt. You can do any kind of watercolor design that you want to do. Okay?
What?
Okay. So here's your watercolors. Here's your water. Here's some napkins. And best of luck to you, kid. So go ahead and get her started. Which color are you doing first?
I don't know.
Blue?
No.
No? Black. All right, here we go. So while Blaine is working on his shirt and getting that watercolored so that I can show you what the final product of this like bigger get to know you activity is, and it's by far my favorite one that I've ever done in my classroom, and I've used it multiple times. We're going to talk about some of their activities. So another one is going to be just like quick morning meeting activities that you want to have just like in your back pocket. So I'm going to share 3 quick morning meeting activities that you can do. Now, when I mean morning meeting activities, I'm talking like games or things that you can play for like 5, maybe like 10 minutes, depending on the type of game that you're incorporating. They're fun, they're collaborative, it gets kids up and moving, they're nice, they're sometimes referred to as brain breaks, but these are gonna just be great to just have in the back of your pocket so that you can pull them out if maybe a lesson ends up being a lot shorter and you need to be able to fill a little bit of time. These are fantastic to be able to utilize. So the first one is going to be the most boring that I'm going to share with you. So the first one is going to be like a find someone who. So you would create a board like this, and each of the items on that board is going to have something that you are looking for someone. Now, I have this as an editable document within the Bridging Literacy community, so everybody can kind of add in the items that they feel is best for the group of kids that they are teaching. So this is one that I've done with MAC team in the past, when I was a 4th, 5th, and 6th grade teacher. So has a sister, has a pet, enjoys art, likes the same season as you do, has gone to Disney, has a birthday in the summer. Like, you can make these questions or have topics, anything that related. But basically the kids will have a clipboard, they'll have this paper, and they go around and they ask, hey, do you have a summer in the birth and a birthday in the summer? And the kid says no, they move on to the next person. They say, okay, thank you, and then they move on. Teaching them how to say thank you is important. And then from there, when they do find somebody, they write that person's name in. And what's nice is it just gets them to, again, get to know one another when it comes to all the topics that you have here. So very, very simple, nice morning meeting activity, or something that you could do throughout the day. Another one is going to be called 21. Now, I played 21 quite often, especially during like the COVID time when we had to, actually, I should probably not say that. So the next game is going to be called 21. Now, 21 is something that I played quite often, especially during the time when we had to stay apart from one another, because it was very, very simple to be able to do, and everybody could just kind of be in their own space. So basically, all of the students stand up at their desk or their table, wherever it might be. I had them typically stand behind their chair. And so students can name or call out up to 3 numbers in a row. So they can say 1 number, 2 numbers, or 3 numbers. And so the way that it worked is I would have them start at a certain point. Typically, I would just call sticks, or you can start at the beginning of your class, the end of the class, however it goes. But then you want to identify a way for students to kind of go in that order. So you can have it like snake, or you can have them just go around or up and down the aisles, however you choose to end up doing that. And so students might call it out. So I might have the first student might say 1, 2. The next one might say 3. The next one would say 4, 5, 6. The next one might say 7, 8. And then the next one would say 9. The next one would say 10, 11, 12. The next one, 13, 14, 15. The next one, 16, 17, 18. And then the next one would say 19, 20. If you are somebody who gets stuck on 21, the person who says 21 has to sit down. And so you keep going. And so then the next person behind that person that said 21 will then start it up again. The cool thing is that kids start to pick up on this, and they're like very clever about like who they're trying to get out. I often had like the boys trying to get rid of the girls, girls trying to get rid of the boys. Like that was just always the way that my class dynamic worked. But it's great and it's simple, it's fun, it's something that you can very easily do. So 21 is a really, really great game. The next one, I'm gonna show you my whiteboard so you have an idea of how this one works and how it's played. Okay, so for this next activity, every student has to have a whiteboard, a dry erase marker, and an eraser. And you as a teacher will need to have a set of die. So 2 of these in order to be able to play the game. So the way that I had these is I would just roll them. Typically, I either had like a projector or something for the kids to be able to see, and I could roll them so they can see what number. You don't have to have them see the numbers, but if you wanted to, you would just have to have some way to project it up onto the screen. So here's how it gets started. So the kids are standing up behind their chairs, and they write the word snake. This was an activity that was introduced to me by a reading specialist, and she was fantastic. So with the game Snake, they're going to play 5 different games. And so each one, the kids are going to be tallying up and keeping in order the numbers. Now, here's the trick. It's a game of like chance. So if I roll a double, the kids who are still standing are out and they lose all of their points. So I would just roll. So let's say I rolled like that. I have 5 and I have 6. So the kids could just write the number 6. And then they're still standing. They would have to choose if they're ready to just take that 6 and sit down, or if they want to like keep going and see if they can get more points. So let's say I roll again and I have a double. Those kids who are standing are out. The ones who decided to sit down get to total up their points and keep them down here. So they get to have their total points down here. So then the next game starts. So everybody stands back up. Again, you would have to play the game of chance. So everybody's standing for the first one. I would roll, and then I have 7. So I would mark 7 here like that. And then I would roll again. Oops. I have 9, so I would write 9. And again, I would have to decide, am I gonna sit down? Am I just gonna keep these points and just take it and sit down? Or am I gonna risk getting a double and losing all of my points? And so I would roll again, and uh-oh, I got a double. I would lose all of those points, and then I would have nothing. So in this case, this person would just have 0 points. But if I decided to sit down that first time, I would have 6 total points. So everybody stands again. I would roll. I have 10. And then you decide, do you want to sit down, take the 10, or do you want to keep going? I have 8, 6. Let's say I decided to sit down. And then the other, so I would total up this number because I'm out. Once you sit down, you're out of the game. You're not adding any more points. But the other people who are risking it and staying in the game get to continue to add unless they get a double and then they lose all of their points. So by the end of it, you would have to total up all of these numbers to see how much you got at the very end. So the game is called Snake. The kids really, really like this game because it is risky. They have to decide when they want to sit down, and they're happy with the number of points that they have on their board. So it's one that they really enjoy. Highly recommend. Okay, so we're officially done with our shirt. And now he's gonna start working on his head. So you're gonna have to draw 2 eyes. So you have to have, 2 eyes. I'm sorry, let me kind of show it to you. This one's mine. So here's how this one would work. I would draw, because your eyes kind of go right around where your ears are. I would draw an eye. Try to make that same eye on the other side, but it's a lot harder than it looks. You know, you have like an eyeball, and then what? Eyeball? You making fun of my eyeball? Okay, and then give yourself some eyebrows. Don't worry about the hair right now, okay? And then you can give yourself a nose. And I kind of do this kind of a nose where I do one longer and then I just show this little nostril on the other side. Can you hold this for me? Yeah? Okay. Perfect. And then what I do is I end up drawing like a mouth. So I will normally just start with like this, but then if you want to add some like lips, you can definitely. Like that. Too close, buddy. All right. You see that? Can you try to do yours?
Attempt, yes.
Okay. Listen, you're not doing hair yet, so don't stress about hair, but you are going to have to add color. So you are going to use pencils for giving your beautiful kind of tannish skin color, right? And then you're going to do your eyes and all of that, but start with pencil first. Okay? Can I come back and check on you
Which
in a
one
minute?
do I do first?
Huh?
Which one do I do first?
You're going to do all the pencil first, and then you're going to go back and color it.
Okay.
Sounds good? Mm. Okay. I'm going to come back and check on you. I'm going to go and talk about some other activities. Okay, so Blaine is crushing it when it comes to his head and his shirt. He's getting those done. But you can see how like this is a little bit of a longer process, but I promise you these are gorgeous to hang up in your room all year long. They're just so wonderful. Okay, so let's talk about the next set. So we've done some like get to know you activities. We've talked about like morning meeting, move your body, brain break type activities that are so good to have in your back pocket. Now let's talk about some activities that you want to like sprinkle in for really high energy fun times. And I don't do these very often. I recommend only doing like one of these a day because it starts to get way too much. So I have 3 different ones that I'm sharing. Get the kind of theme here. It's like 3 on 3. Okay. And so the first one that I have done that I've loved is the longest chain activity because it is so simple to put together. All you need to give students, and I would put them into groups of 3, is I would give them a piece of construction paper, or you could partner them up if you want to have more kids, but it's going to get messy, just warning. A piece of construction paper, 1 pair of scissors, and then a piece of masking tape. And I would normally have a basket, and I would just take the masking tape from one end to the other. So they had to be very, they had to use it wisely because that was all the tape that they were going to get. And that's it. That's all you do. So you're telling students that they have to create the longest possible chain using the materials that they're giving. So the amount of masking tape that you're giving them, and then also the construction paper using 1 pair of scissors. So students have to, 1, learn how to take turns, how to have a conversation, and also think about what is going to give them the most bang for their buck when it comes to the construction paper. I'm going to give you a picture here of what mine looks like when I've done this inside of the classroom. And again, the kids have always really enjoyed doing them. And it's nice because it takes about a good, I would say 40 minutes for students to kind of get through. Another one that I've done in the past, and I had purchased mine as a resource. If I can figure out whose resource it was and if I can find it, I will put it into the description. I'm not sure where I got it from, probably Teachers Pay Teachers. Anyway, so this is the activity where it is stacking cups. Now, again, what's nice is if you have the materials, it's really, really easy to make. So you give each group of 4 students a set of 6 stacking cups. So they get that. They will also receive 4 pieces of yarn that are already cut for them, and then 1 piece of rubber band, and really make sure that those rubber bands are good rubber bands and that they're not going to like snap on them or just have extra ready to go because kids will end up breaking them. And so what they have to do is, working together without touching the cups, they have to stack them. Now, you can purchase the resource, and I think it had like pictures, or if you wanted to just do it simple, you could set a timer on your board and you could just stack them yourself. So you would just tell students, okay, you are gonna have 5 minutes to stack the cups this way, and you are gonna show them the way that you want them stacked, right? So this might be the first challenge. So you would say 5 minutes on the clock, everybody doing it, go. And so everybody would end up doing it. Then after that 5 minutes, depending on if teams got it, great, you could celebrate them. If not, you could kind of talk about like how they could have done it. So you could have had those conversations, but then you could then have them switch it up and say, okay, now I want you to do it this way. So stacking it like this. So you can give them different options for how you want students to be able to stack them. You might have them then just do it all like this, and putting them into a row. Or if you wanted to, you could take pictures of these, put them onto a Google Slides, and you can have like the order that they have to take it into. So you might have challenge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then all they have to do is just kind of look at the board to know what way they are going to be stacking their cups in order to make it happen. So this could be the last challenge like that. That way they have it all stacked together. But either way, what's really fun about that is that kids, again, have to work collaboratively. It's very, very simple. I always keep cups on hand because they're just very easy things that you can be able to pull out of your closet and then be able to use it for different forms of activities, or even for like when you need to sort different items for kids. These are always just wonderful to have on hand. Okay, the last one is one that I'm really, really proud of because I made this one. And every year for a very long time now, I have always, well, since I've been an upper elementary teacher, so 4th through 6th grade, I have always done a really big challenge on the first day of school. And it was kind of this way to celebrate kids coming back to school, to make it really fun, to end the day in a really strong way. And they always got a prize for me afterwards. Now, typically, it was like some type of like editable prize. And I wanted to create something for my members. So if you're a part of the Bridging Literacy community, don't forget you have this escape. And a lot of the other resources like the surveys, the name tags, like all that is inside of the community. If you are somebody who's curious and wants to join, there is no commitment. You can cancel at any time, but we would love to have you because we support you and we provide you with resources, give you lots of trainings, and we are always here to help you when it comes to your literacy instruction. So I'm going to leave that there. If you are interested, you can go to bridgingliteracy.com/BLC, and that will take you where you can find more information about the community. So the challenge itself is nice because it is a one about the missing treats. Because I always do a treat, and it doesn't have to be anything big. It could be Skittles. I've done Skittles. I've done Pop Rocks. I've done rock candy. I've done all sorts of things over the course of my years. And so because it's like the missing treats, you can make it anything you want to make it. You can make a Frisbee. You can give them like highlighters, a sharp, whatever you want, because treat can be interpreted many ways. So basically what there are is there's 5 different challenges, and each of the challenges is for one group. So I believe I have like 5 or 6 colors, and then I have like a black and white version that can get printed onto Astrobrite's paper. But I already have, where this one is red, there's like a purple version, a blue version, a yellow, an orange. You get the point. But that way you can make different groups, and I just keep these year after year after year. And so inside of it, what you would do is you would put kids into groups of 3. I like 3s because I just feel like they work a little bit better together. And then inside of each one of these, there are different challenges. So they have to solve them in order. So you can see it says solve in order. There's that one, solve in order. And so I would start with the A and take out the resources like as a group for A. It would give them the clue, and then it has some items that are inside of it as well. So this is like the idea of the puzzle. Now, what's neat about this is that in order to solve challenge number 1, you need to understand both of these. So you have to solve what's in this one and this one to use them together to help you know where to find challenge 2, because all the other challenges are hidden around the room. So you have to know where to go to find that. And so students work together to solve all of these. And if they get to the very end, they get their treat and a certificate at the end of that. So it's very simple to put together. I did not want something to be incredibly complicated. I did not want it to be a digital breakout because I want it to feel collaborative in the sense. I want it to be hands-on. I like to have like a balance between that screen time and being off of that screen time. So I wanted it to be fun and for them to explore the room and find different areas around the room. And so that's kind of what this challenge is all about. I am just so excited about this. I really wish that I was in the classroom that I could do this, and I kind of want to just email my Blaine's teacher and be like, hey, don't you want me to come in and like do this with your students? You think that that person would let me? Probably not. So this is, again, inside of the community. It is exclusive to the community. So that's the only way you're able to get these. The kids always have so much fun. Now you're probably wondering, but what about the kids who don't get it? If kids are not understanding, I'm not going to leave them high and dry. I'm going to give them hints. I'm walking around the room. I'm giving them hints, helping them understand where, how to solve each of the puzzles so that they can keep progressing and moving through it. It normally takes them about 30 to 45 minutes to do this type of an activity, but it's so much fun. I put music on in the background. The kids are like so hyped. They get excited about the treats. They love trying to solve the puzzles and all those pieces. So I highly recommend doing something like this. Maybe if you don't want to do it on your first day, do it on your second or the third day of school. Do it on the last day of that first week of school. It doesn't have to be the first full week, but the first week that you're there. And I promise you, your kids are going to be so stoked and they're going to be excited about coming into your classroom every day. But that's it. Those are the 3 different types of activities. Now, obviously you're going to do routines, but we're going to talk about routines another day because this video is probably very long. So just as a recap, 3 different types of activities that you want to incorporate into your day. One is going to be just like simple get to know you activities. Some of these can be things that they can do very quietly at their desk. And these could also be things that might take a little bit longer, like the project that Blaine's doing right now. And then you also want to have the second category, which is morning meeting activities. These are fun, quick, brain break type activities. They can be collaborative in nature, but they're ones that you can pull out over and over, especially if you just need to give kids breaks and allow them to move around your room. And then the last one are those big, fun, collaborative activities. And these are going to take a little bit longer. I recommend doing maybe about 1, maybe 2 a day, depending on like the type of activity that it is. Obviously, I wouldn't do 2 of these escape rooms in one day. That's just too much, but I could do one of these and then also maybe like the cup stack. That might be totally fine. But these are going to be a little bit longer. Get your kids excited to be able to work with one another and get them critically thinking very early at the beginning of the year. Let's go see how Blaine is progressing with his project.
Hello.
Hi, Blaine.
I just finished.
You finished? Let's look at it. Oh, that looks so good. I love it. That looks great, buddy. Okay, so here's what we have now. So I think this is pretty dry for the most part. So we have the shirt. You have your fun head that you've done. So now what we have to do is we have to do pictures and then we have to do hair because you're bald right now. And last time I checked, you have really great hair. So here is how we're going to do it. I'm going to have you go upstairs. We're going to pick out some construction paper. You're going to do some hair, unless you just want to draw it. Do you want to just draw your hair?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that I would do hair, do you want me to show you how to do it?
I know.
So for yours, because like your hair, like this, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You could just do something like that and then color that in a lot darker. Other times I've had kids use like yarn or construction paper that they would like lay on top of it. But in this case, we're just gonna have Blaine draw it out. So that'll make it a little bit easier on him as far as getting his stuff done. And then we're gonna pick out some pictures that we're gonna print out to add to his shirt. Good job. Okay, so once your students have all of the pieces done as far as their shirt goes and then also their head, they need to start picking out some images. Now, depending on where you are, you may be able to send a letter home and have them bring images in. You might have magazines that they're going to cut out. To make this process go a little bit faster just for Blaine, we're just going to pick out pictures using a Google Slide. So if you have a way to share a presentation where everybody can just get on it, the same presentation, here's what I would recommend doing. So first, I would have you go to File and go to Page Setup in Google Slides. From there, you're going to go to Custom, and then you're going to do 11 and then 8.5. So 11 by 8.5 is what we want to try to focus on. So what that's going to do is going to put it to print to paper size. So it's going to be a lot easier for you to print. If you try to do the normal side, the images are not going to come out the same way. I go ahead and just delete all of the stuff that's on there, and then I would add student's name to it. So I would just say Blaine, and if I had other students, I would say Harry, Ron. Who am I doing, Blaine?
Ian.
Well, yeah, I need to do Ian. So I could type in all of their names into the slides. So that way when students come on, they find the slide with their name and then they're able to then add images to it. So Blaine, I'm gonna let you add all the images to this page. You can try to fill it up as much as you like because he's right behind me. You fill it as much as you like using the images that you really enjoy. Do you know how to add images?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna let you do that and go ahead. Take a seat, get started.
I'll take the special seat.
Special seat. Okay, so Blaine decided that he wanted to do some watercolor for his hair, so we added hair in to his head because that's important, and then he printed out. Now, granted, my child decided that he was going to do all planes,
Look at that one.
but that's the thing that he is very, very passionate and excited about, and he loves it very, very much. So we're gonna let him have this all planes. However, other students would do a variety of things. They might do foods, they might do different topics, they might do words, they might have pictures of their family, of pets, whatever it might be. It's meant to be in a collage of just random things. My child, just did not decide to do that. He wanted to do all planes. So now what he's gonna do is cut these out and he's gonna glue them onto his shirt to create a collage of items that help represent who he is. Okay, go for it. All right, so that is the very last activity, but at least you got to see it all come together. I was able to find one picture of this, thank you, of this like head and body that I used in the classroom. It's not a great image, however, it gives you an idea of what it looked like inside of my classroom. So hopefully you enjoyed kind of seeing how it all came together. I would love to know which of the activities you plan on embedding inside of your classroom. Don't forget, if you want to gain access to any of the resources, you can join the Bridging Literacy community, which is a monthly or yearly subscription. And there we provide professional development, we give you resources, and there is just a lot of support when it comes to helping you be able to do the most out of your literacy instruction. So I am going to leave all that information down in the description box. And again, let me know which of these activities was your favorite. Which is your favorite?
The head one.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will be back tomorrow with another video. Bye.